Hey Deckers, Liam here. It's time for the next exciting episode of Steam Deck News, so let's get the party started, shall we? First up, Valve has hit a new milestone as Deck Verified has now officially hit over 9,000 titles.
What, 9,000?
Yes, Snapper, over 9,000. I know, it's unbelievable, right? The best way to actually see this is over on the unofficial Steam database website. This is because their number actually includes titles hidden by publishers on Steam that are no longer sold, but still downloadable and playable if you previously purchased them. Usual reminder though, this is only the number that Valve has tested in some way. There's plenty more that absolutely do work that haven't been verified yet. And at times, some do sneak through that shouldn't be verified, but the number is largely correct. So question for you in the comments, are you finding many issues or do you feel for the most part it's about right? Do you think Valve should be more open on their testing procedures? Pause the video and let me know right now in the comments how you feel about Deck Verified and then carry on watching. Okay, next up, 2 bits of normal Steam news for you. The first is an update to store pages, as Valve are now limiting 2 trailers before showing the screenshots. It's a very small tweak, but a very welcome one, as some games were ridiculous in that they had multiple years worth of random trailers, often without really much in the way of gameplay footage. And so it could be a bit of a minor hassle just to get a quick shot to see if the style of a game is your thing. Now I do love this simple change, but perhaps just separating screenshots and videos entirely might actually work better. What do you think? Let me know. The next bit of Steam news is that Valve has now upgraded the Steam Store search. So previously, if you went and searched for something on the Steam Store in the search bar, it would only search via the game name, and you needed to be pretty exact with it. Now it's a lot more forgiving of spelling errors, and it will also search through categories, tags, publishers, and franchises as well. So you get a lot more for your searches in the autocomplete dropdown. And given how many thousands of games release on Steam each year, this is really nice because it can help you find what you want. For those of you using things like Epic Games or GOG or other external sources, you may want to recheck on the Heroic Games Launcher because it recently had another upgrade which, along with other random fixes, makes the Epic Games login work properly again. The Heroic Games Launcher is my absolute go-to for downloading any games from Epic or GOG because for the most part it really helps to simplify the process of getting the games on Steam Deck and my Linux desktop as well. I use it on both. It's available in the Discover store in desktop mode, or you can download their app image from their website directly in GitHub. Just remember that if you do download the Heroic Games Launcher from Discover, you need to update it from Discover in desktop mode as well. And you need to do this for any other Flatpaks that you have installed. Don't forget to go back into desktop mode and make sure everything is up to date. Okay, how about some Proton upgrades now? Because there's been quite a few there as well. For the official Valve Proton, they released Proton 8.0-2 as the newest stable version of Proton. This fixed up Baldur's Gate 3 getting stuck on a black screen in Vulkan mode. It fixed up Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition and Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition both crashing at launch. It fixed Path of Exile crashing. There was a memory leak fixed in Trackmania and the Ubisoft Connect overlay. They improved Elden Ring compatibility compared to the previous Proton 8.0-1, although they said it can still be a bit finicky. They also fixed up Red Dead Redemption 2 and other games not starting after switching from Proton Experimental to Stable. And they added a temporary workaround for the EA launcher crashing yet again. The EA launcher is just a constant nuisance. But they did say the Steam Deck's on-screen keyboard may not pop up automatically while using it. Proton Experimental was also upgraded, but they don't have like numbered releases here, they just have a date on it. So the Proton Experimental update for May 5th includes a newly playable title of Gunfire Reborn, and this one's for desktop Linux users because they've enabled the NV API for many more games. So this is the NVIDIA API to enable their advanced features like DLSS and so on. They enabled the NV API for quite a few games like the Dead Space Remake, Chernobyl Enhanced Edition, Forspoken, Forza Horizon 5, Hi-Fi Rush, and a few others. They also fixed up Tales of Berseria suffering from screen tearing with VSync turned on. They improved Final Fantasy XIII loading times. Proton Experimental also fixed up the EA launcher crashing, and they removed a previous workaround for it. They fixed up Red Dead Redemption 2 taking too long to exit with Alt and F4, so that's more for desktop. They fixed up Battle.net not starting, so if you were using Battle.net directly in Steam using Proton, then you want to set it to Proton Experimental for that. They fixed cutscenes freezing in Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, fixed up multiple Unity titles flickering on the Steam Deck when switching display window options. They fixed the Elder Scrolls Online wrongly claiming that there was not enough space, and they updated the Steamworks SDK, and then finally they fixed up the Elder Scrolls Online launcher showing a blank window. So if any of that affected you, make sure you swap those games to Proton Experimental. To change the Proton version a game uses, all you do is just pick your game, go into the properties, then into compatibility, tick the box, and from the drop down, you just select whatever version of Proton you wish to try. It's often best to stick to what Valve have set, but at times you may need to set a specific version, like swapping over to Proton Experimental when it has new fixes available. We also have the Community GE Proton, which had 8-1 and 8-2 released recently. GE Proton 8-1 was mostly just rebasing the code on top of the official releases of Valve's Proton 8 and Experimental, along with fixes for various Daedalic games, Mega Dimension Neptuna, Shatterline, Conception Plus, and Monster Hunter Rise. Another real small one is the Steam Deck OS 3.4.8 update, which is available in the preview update branch. This just gives you an updated graphics driver with a fix for a GPU crash in Splitgate. Valve are only doing small updates there, as the work is ongoing on the much bigger SteamOS 3.5, which will have plenty of exciting things to show off, and some of which I did tease in my previous news video. Onto something gaming related now. First up, some disappointing news. Roblox have sadly pushed out their new 64-bit client, which comes with their new first-party anti-cheat, and it is blocking Wine and Proton by default. Previously, they said supporting Wine was going to be a priority for them, and they said this multiple times, but a recent developer reply doesn't sound so convincing on that. So right now, it seems like Roblox for Linux and Steam Deck with Wine and Proton is basically a no-go. Next up, good old Nintendo. They're up to their old tricks again. And because emulation is a big thing, and they really don't like it outside of their own systems, Nintendo has issued a DMCA strike on Lockpick and Lockpick RCM. These are tools that enabled you to dump keys from your own Switch. It's a bit ridiculous, but it didn't help that the new Zelda game leaked early and people were already emulating it. So Nintendo gonna Nintendo to attempt to basically stop whatever they can. Finally, 2 indie game shoutouts here of games that I've been enjoying. The first you're seeing is Soul Survivors, and it's very much like Vampire Survivors, but there are some fun differences, like the characters all being very different to play. My favourite being the Necromancer, who has a swinging physical flail that you can move around your character because it's physics-based, and this character will necro skeletons and other creatures. It's a lot of fun to play, with enemies that have lots of different behaviours too, and thanks to this and to the different characters, it's a lot more skill-based compared with Vampire Survivors, where you're just buffing your character as much as you can and running around doing basically nothing. Soul Survivors also has what they call a cursed mode, where when you finish a run, it becomes endless, but it will constantly give new curses to you and the world, and it just gets ridiculous. It's a lot of fun, so do check it out. Actual final one now is called Swarm Grinder. Currently, I'm just going to tell you to keep an eye on this one, because the Steam Deck performance right now is not very good. The developer is aware of that though, and they are looking into it, and they are going to be making some optimizations. So for now, I've been playing it on desktop Linux, and it is a lot of fun. Although the footage that I'm showing you is on the Steam Deck, just because I want to show both the gameplay and how rough the Steam Deck performance is right now. Now again, with Swarm Grinder, it has a similar basic idea to Vampire Survivors and all other sort of horde games, but here you're clearing an ever-growing swarm to try and bring down mining stations at various places that will give you upgrades. You also have to be constantly on the move as you have a fuel gauge and it's always being used up, so you need to keep on picking up more fuel from taking down enemies. It's absolutely frantic and it is very challenging. And once they optimize the issues with clearing all the cells around you, which is really what brings down the performance, it would actually be a pretty good recommendation even on Steam Deck. There's no reason a game like this can't be optimized for the lower end as well, considering the Steam Deck can run some AAA games without a sweat. But I thought it was a seriously cool idea for a game, and I just wanted to show it and let you know about it regardless, so one to keep an eye on. But that's it for this video. Thank you again for coming along. Please do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment with all your thoughts, and I will see you later.